And as you well know, we have a lot of fun here.
Gosh.
And we have a lot of fun sometimes. I should say I have a lot of fun at other people's expense. My sense of humor is not for everybody. And it can be a little bit on the harsh side occasionally. And I don't mean it to be. I don't have any malice of forethought
That's
when
right.
I make a really bad joke, but I still tend to do it. And you can, if you look over my left shoulder, there's a man whose portrait is on the wall.
Friend
back here.
John.
His name was John Dunleavy. John has been gone now about 3 years, maybe 4. It's been about 4
years now. Yep.
And John was a great guy, a dear friend of mine, and he smoked lighter cigars most of the time. He didn't really like the heavy stuff, and I gave him such a hard time. We were down at Cigar Man one day, and I went upstairs to get a cigar and came back down, and John was sitting there, looked exactly like that every time you saw him because he always had a cigar in his hand.
That was his spot, too.
And he sat there, and I said, "So what are you smoking, John?" And he said, I swear, I think it was a champagne. And he looked at it, and he said, "I'm smoking champagne." And I said, "Oh, so did you start your period?" And, of course, he just kind of laughed because he knew my warped sense of humor.
Right.
But we get away with that around here.
Absolutely.
It's fun. There's never any harm meant, and we can be somewhat vicious with a sense of humor occasionally.
Listen, Dennis, if someone take you literally as to what you said it comes out your mouth and wear their emotions on their shoulders, they don't need to be holding smoke. Because, hell, I've been dealing with you for years, way before this, even when we was at 5-Star, and I have not taken anything you said to me personally because I love your humor, man. Where don't care what you say out your mouth. It's just crazy loving to me, that's all. And some people are not like that. Some people
they're not.
Some people become offended by it, and and it's just I could care less because I'm a person of life, and Dennis, you've been my life since we've been friends. So
well, you have truly been like a brother to me.
I love it,
and I love you, and I love that about you. And sometimes I forget that everyone is not you.
Yeah.
And so I have
Gotta be careful.
Pulled a really bad joke out of the quiver that's on my back from time to time, and had people looking at me like, "What?" We've got a mutual friend named Jenny. And
my girl.
First time that I had no intention of telling this story, but I do think it is a good one. First time I ever met Jenny, I was sitting at 5-Star Cigar Bar up in Hickson.
At the bar.
And I looked out the door, and a big, massive Ford pickup truck pulls up, and I look out the plate glass window, and this little bitty tiny woman that's barely 5 feet tall gets out, pulls her crutches out of the truck, and starts coming toward the cigar shop. And she had one leg missing, and it was right below the knee, and it was still like in gauze. And so I knew it was fairly recent. So I got up and opened the door for her, and she thanked me, and she comes in, goes over and sat down at the bar. It was very obvious that she knew Ed. She had been in there before, and she ordered a beer, and he got her a cigar. And so I walked over there then after she got her beer and cigar, introduced myself, and we'd been talking for about 5 minutes. And there were two guys that I don't know to this day who they were, but they were sitting there. She didn't know them. I didn't know them. They were sitting close to Jenny at the bar having a beer. And so Jenny and I have been talking about 5 minutes, and I looked over at her and I said, "So what happened to your leg? How did you lose it?" And she explained what had happened. It had been a problem foot that she had literally since birth. And she said, "I had an elective surgery because I was tired of dealing with it. I had my leg removed." She's now doing great. If you see Jenny, you would have no idea that she has a prosthetic leg because she has adapted well. Yeah. She's got this great-looking prosthetic leg that's it looks like it's a tattoo on it. And I haven't seen it lately. It's really beautiful. Okay. It really is. Okay. So anyway, I just find that out. And so out of my mouth comes this. I looked at Jenny and I said, "You know what I love about coming up here to Ed's place?" And she said, "What?" And I said, "It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to get a cigar and a beer." And she just bent over and she's cracking up. And I glance over next to me at the other two guys, and they're going,
Right.
It's like, I can't believe you just said that.
Right.
And as you well know, you can believe anything that comes out of my mouth.
Absolutely. Then you make fun of your own self. Then it's just the way it is. That's life, man. And it's okay. And Jenny wasn't offended by that at all. Not at all.
We have been very good friends ever since. And
Yeah,
she was out here just a couple of weeks ago.
That's cool.
And we just got such a great community of people here in this shop. We've been talking this morning about a lot of subjects about cigars and about cigar culture. Mateen, I noticed that you have done something that I've seen you do 1,000 times, and that's that you have a cigar in your pipe. Tell me about that.
Well, let's go back to about 2018. I have pipes from when I smoked in the Navy 40 years past, and I literally wanted to see if I could finish because of my thought process of those who hand roll these dinners, and we talk about the transition of flavor in the cap. I got down to a small portion of the cigar, chopped it up to see if I could smoke it in the pipe like pipe tobacco.
Right.
Oh my gosh, what a mistake. Because
chopping it up is where you screwed up.
Chopping it up is where I messed up because cigar tobacco is totally different than pipe tobacco. That was the most harsh taste I'd ever had in my life. So I said, at this point where I had the cigar, I just popped it in the pipe and started smoking it and fell in love with it. Then is when I first did this in 19 is really when I did it, when I became a member of Cigar Scanner by Neptune Cigars, a social media cigar app. It went viral. I'm talking completely across the world. When you smoke a cigar in the pipe, which is now what I've dubbed as the Pygar, the Pygar, that's the cigar in the pipe, and it gets cooler. You don't have the heat, and you get better transition of flavors. Now, the only drawback to this is a straight shooter. If you're not careful, the fluid that comes into the bowl of the pipe comes through the stem, and if it gets in your mouth, and you taste and swallow it, you're done.
Yeah, you got that bitter.
You're sick because of all that fluid that sits in there.
Right.
However, I perfected it so much that this straight shooter just tilted, and it doesn't draw up through the stem. So on this particular scanner, there's a couple of people that have told me that I have now become the ambassador Pygaru of the Pygar. That's how this all took off. And this is a good conversation piece. It's a good starter for those who, unlike, okay, your cigar, don't want to hold it all the way down to the end or use a poker or use a paper clip, as I used to do on some smaller gauges, which I don't have a Pygar for. And you can still do some things. I can talk to you. I can look on my phone.
You can drop ash on your lap.
I can tap the ash on my lap, which I don't mind.
That's one of my favorite things.
I can drink my coffee and still smoke my pipe or my Pygar. So that's what this is all about. And I love the fact that I may not have engineered this or been the first to innovate this, but nonetheless, it's gone viral. And I've heard some people say, oh, my dad used to do that back in the past, but not like Mateen Ale. Because I smoke it down to the cap, literally, to get all of those transitional flavors that these people who hand roll these things for the world to smoke and enjoy. Because I want that, Dennis. And that's what this is all about, brother.
And sometimes the best part of that cigar is right down there at the end.
It's what we call the third, fourth, or the fourth, third, or whatever it is, how we say it. But that's the best flavors. Because everything transitions down through the filler binder and the wrapper. And that's where it gets you right there. And it's just so pleasant.
Well, you mentioned your cigar app and how that you're smoking your Pygar has kind of gone viral. You've told me a story before about one particular gentleman that you've met and have become friends with. Tell me that story.
Oh, my. So this guy's name is David Cooper. He's in Arizona. David saw me on the Cigar Scanner, which is Cigar Scanner is what it's called, Cigar Scanner, and it's by Neptune Cigars. Nonetheless, David and I became friends. There's been a lot of guys that I've made contact with Dennis on this app who has sent me cigars to try and then give them feedback on. But David has become, like you, a dear brother. of mine who I've never met in person, but we FaceTime once a month over the last couple of years.
Right.
David would buy premium cigars. We're talking top premium cigars. And he would gift what he called me his younger sibling of the leaf. I call him my senior sibling of the leaf because he's much older, and I respect that. But he would gift me cigars just because he wants me to be able to enjoy what he's enjoying.
Right.
His go-to has always been Padron, but he smokes a variety. Padron and the Casa Fuentes, the orange labels is what he smokes. But he smokes a lot of cigars as well, but those are his go-tos. And just a common thread of being on this particular app has brought me and him real close to each other.
Yeah.
Love his mom. He tells me of his day with his mom. When he goes swimming with his mom, he tells me of his wife. And he's always asking about my wife, Deborah. So we are really close when it comes to this cigar. This thing is a common thread, man. This thing brings so many people together for so many reasons.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that about us. I love that about me and him.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I agree. It's common thread is the right term for it. It's the common denominator. And we have talked about this before. You can go in our shop or any other shop anywhere, and what you should see, what you will see here and what you should see everywhere is blue-collar worker sitting next to a doctor or a lawyer or a psychologist or a business owner or a guy that lays carpet. It doesn't matter. We all have this in common, and this brings people together.
Brings them together.
And it does it like nothing else that I have ever seen in my life.
A great networking source.
Yeah.
Let's just use that. Great networking source. You can business with people.
Right.
Just common conversation about general things in life.
Right.
No politics, no religion.
Yep.
Nothing personal about how much money you make and care less.
Yeah.
Because you could be smoking a $2 cigar.
Right.
And be a millionaire. But you like that $2 cigar.
Right.
I could be just a laborer smoking a $15, $16, $20 cigar.
Right.
But it's just a common thread.
Yeah.
The equalizer is what I like to use it as
good
well.
Good word for it. Very good.
Because we all come together just to smoke cigar. We talk about nothing personal.
Yep.
Having a lot of fun.
Yep.
And you know, we have a lot of fun.
We do.
It don't matter what customer is in here.
Yep.
Have a lot of fun about cigar. We don't even necessarily talk about cigar. We're just talking about things in general.
Yep.
And it's an equalizer.
Yeah, I remember after you and I had known each other for about 3 years, and we were at another shop one day talking, and you said something about the fact that you were black and you were in there with all these other white guys, and I remember I looked at you and I went,
"Come on,
wait a minute, you're black?
Come on." It wasn't even about my ethnicity. It really wasn't.
It's never been a part of the deal.
Trust me,
it doesn't matter.
And then they said, I love you saying that because most of the time, Mateen L is in the company of the majority Caucasians.
Yeah.
It's very few who looks like me that is in the company of us, especially here, Holy Smoke Cigar.
Yeah.
You get a few hitting there, but they don't hang out. They're not a part of what we do.
Right.
And it ain't about me being black.
Yeah.
It's not about my religion. It's not about my political views because we don't talk about stuff like that.
Right.
It's about who I am.
And if we do talk about it, it stays civil.
Ooh.
It stays civil.
Cut and dry, civil, it doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.